clearly you're doing somehow, somewhere. You know what you did.
Trying to blame me for this.
Oh, no. Hey, you're doing the best you can, just like Phoenix Rising. Welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast, everyone. Appreciate you guys joining us here on this lovely Tuesday. The chat is active. Chat is ready. Albert saying Owen Beers. Banditos Bluebird saying we're seeing as much movement as our front four on Saturday night. Oh my goodness. Edward just in the chat blaming me. Unexcusable, not fair. But you know, live with the burden that people put on me. There we go.
I mean, Reese did say that it was you.
You cannot trust the stat lackey. If it's not numbers based, I do not trust him. I don't see a single stat in there.
I don't know. It is a stat.
How is that a stat? There's not a single...
You made us 8 minutes late.
There is quite literally... No, there's no statistics in there.
Yeah.
No, there's not a single number in that comment. Okay,
it's implied.
You can't just imply numbers. We're already off the rails here, per usual on this show. That was quite a post game we had on Saturday with all the chaos going on with everything at PHNX. Again, shout out our production crew handling 5 shows in 5 different locations in even across state lines within a span of about a couple hours. By the time we were letting our emotions kind of simmer, and it's like, okay, we had time to process this a little bit further. It didn't matter because we were still kind of hot. It was a match where, again, we even said, as you get into playoffs, that's okay. First stat, Reese, good shout out. As you can see in fucking hell, damn it! Oh my gosh, you listening to it?
Absolutely lost it. Now.
Darn it, bad stat lackey. No, as you guys have heard us say, all that really matters is the result, and you want to see Rising play some beautiful flowing soccer, but all that matters if they get the win, even a draw at a worst case scenario, and yet this is one of those ones where neither the result nor the performance was up to par. No. And it shows, man. I think this was something where, I know we're going to get into this later in the show, but there were cracks within that unbeaten streak that even though we recognized, you kind of gloss over it with, okay, results are coming. It's in good form from an optics standpoint. But now you can kind of throw those optics, maybe not completely out the window, but it's at least, the window's cracked. They're leaning out there. They might fly away, whatever. But Owen, this result, not great. The performance, not great.
No.
How are we still feeling?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I think there's a few different reasons you kind of point to. I mean, one of the big ones is you've got Rising's goal in the second half, 89th minute. That was their first shot of the half.
Yeah.
89th minute, first shot of the half. Mm-hmm. Of course, you're not going to do well.
It's not great.
That, right? No.
It's not great.
No, you can't go 44 minutes in a half without getting a shot off. You just can't.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a recipe for disaster. When you start looking then at some of the potential reasons why. One thing that always, it stood out to me when I was looking at things, when you look at where people's average positions are, right? We've spoken about that kind of front four, right?
Yes.
We've spoken about the how it works when you got Manu, you got Trejo, you got Formella, you got Panos. When you actually look at it, and you look at the average positions there, Formella and Trejo, both on the left.
Yes.
Pretty much on top of each other.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much there.
They are overlapping, right?
Yeah.
The Opta circles, when you look at them, they're overlapping. They are right on top of each other, pretty much. And that's not going to help. You've got to find ways to get spacing between those two. They're two really dangerous threats, but you've got to make sure that you are able to play them both in. I think another thing that's also worth noting, we've seen in recent weeks, Panos has struggled a little bit more to get on the ball, okay? And that's not necessarily his doing, right? But you look at the number of touches he had in the last game, 28. That's not good enough, right? For someone who has been pretty integral in chance creation. Again, he's one of the top chance creators in the entire league, in spite of the fact that he switched teams partway through the season.
Yes.
And they're not getting him the ball as often as they probably should do. So that's something that I think the team, you'd hope you're going to look at. You hope you're going to try and work out where you're going to go better there. But all in all now, not a great performance, was it? No,
not a great performance. I mean, I've seen Thomas saying, Manny K drawing 5 in a row seems like poor form. For clarification, it was only 3 in a row. However, it was during that end of the unbeaten streak, which again, we're going to get into later in the show. They did draw their last 4 out of 5 matches. And really, man, it was only that 5-0 beatdown of Detroit City notwithstanding. A lot of those draws, I mean, they felt like just massive, and not just in this way of, oh man, point well deserved. It was more of this was kind of fortunate. I wouldn't say in a lot of those ones, like, I mean, in some ways, right, they kind of battled back for those points. In other words, they somehow strung in a goal and then let one late in. Think of Indy 11. Yep. Like, it's tough, man. I think the draws and those performances, right, came in all different shapes and sizes. But again, it was all kind of billowing to, we said it coming in to this match against New Mexico. You know the tensions are going to be high. You know how this team plays. Similar to, right? I mean, if you know how this team plays, not only based on the former Rising players that were on there, based on players who just have a lot of history, but even if you're looking at it from just a tactical standpoint, you have played New Mexico already twice this year. This is your third match against them. I don't care if it's technically different players because it was the Open Cup and there's transition. Like, you know tactically what this team is going to do. And it felt like, in a lot of ways, that, again, we saw Darius Formella in the starting lineup. We had reservations about doing that before. Again, we've kind of said...
It's not necessarily reservations behind him being in the starting lineup. It's
how. Yes, yes, correction, thank you. It was that type of tactic, it feels like, right? You're chasing the game. It's a quote-unquote kitchen sink tactic, as you mentioned. You want to bring guys in there. And it's not necessarily something that we would have earmarked of doing right off the bat. You lose a little bit of that fluidity by taking out one of your central midfielders, guys who have been consistent throughout the season. And it kind of led to, right, if you're going to go with that all-out attacking performance, you at least expect more attack. And, well, let's take a look at the numbers for this game, because it, quite frankly, was anything but. Right? You're seeing on screen right here for that match, right? 5 shots to 8, and that really just seems, I guess, generous. Shots on goal 2 to 3, right? Okay, there wasn't a ton of chances in the game. Again, Rising, really, those lots of shots and those chances, their best clear-cut chances, really seemed like when they were chasing the game late in there and throwing numbers forward. But really, the telling stat, XG, 0.41 for Rising, 1.33 for New Mexico United. It is very, very hard, no matter how much you lose by, to really lose the XG battle by almost a full goal. I mean, that's...
Without getting battered, yeah.
And without any penalties. Like, that's really hard to do. So
when it happens, again, you're getting battered in that game normally.
Exactly. And this is only a 1-goal loss, and it's tough, right? You can say New Mexico didn't have a ton of clear-cut chances, and you know what? Fair. But also, like, Rising's margin for error, when they only have 5 shots, when they only have 2 shots on target, when... As we'll allude to later in the show, when they, quote-unquote, win the possession battle, not always the best thing, because it's not meaningful possession always. It's sometimes those empty possession battles.
Worth noting, though, actually, with the XG, when, again, there was a penalty in there, of course, for New Mexico.
Oh, yeah, totally was. My bad. Shoot. Everyone's arguments out the window.
He's completely forgetting that one. Yeah, it's an interesting one, right?
Game.
Because I think it was one of those ones where I didn't necessarily feel at the time it was a penalty. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't think that Greg Hurst, who was fouled at the time, felt that it was a penalty. You watch it back afterwards, and no, it was a penalty. The challenge comes in from Stenberg into the back. Yeah, it's a penalty.
It's almost like when you were clattering to me at the office, just shoulder to shoulder, not trying to get ball.
You don't. Now, hang on a minute, because we want to be clear here and not pass any disinformation. Winning the ball is not a characteristic of or against a fair charge.
I was using a metaphor or a real life example, but okay, fair. Go on.
Okay,
fair,
right.
Go on.
When you're considering charges, you're going to consider the point and mode of contact, right?
Yes.
So you're going to look at things like shoulder to shoulder. Typically, you're going to consider the amount of force used. Does it raise to the level of being careless, reckless, excessive force?
I would say it was quite agricultural.
It's very unlikely. And you also consider typically the play. Are you within playing distance to the ball? Those are the considerations when it comes to a fair charge or not fair charge. Winning the ball, of course, is not an element of a fair or unfair charge.
Let's just say, John's. Well, I don't know. It was must have been lunchtime because wasn't trying to make a meal out of it. But there you go. Bam.
Why have we got Edward saying one out? Stop it, Edward. Stop stirring. Because there are people who actually believe that.
I need a newspaper, Edward. You got to bonk. No, none of that. Bonk. Yeah, I mean, right, Albert's saying, I mean, Albert was perfectly positioned right there at where that was. It definitely looked like a penalty from my vantage point. I mean, yeah, in real time, again, I have no qualms on it. We were on the sideline from that, and you're just kind of seeing, like, from Albert's angle right in front of it, from my angle from the sideline. Like, it'd be hard-pressed to rule that not a penalty, I think, just in real time. But here's the thing. You're kind of looking at how that kind of carried out. Rising, throwing numbers forward, and whether, again, we're going to argue whether it's a penalty or not. You can call it very much a frustration challenge.
Yeah.
Even if I understand, right? Intent to win the ball and all that stuff. If not a prerequisite fair. the way it
He's got to know based on the way the game was being called.
Yes, but the consider me bonked. Thank you, Edward. The way it looked and just kind of like the nature of it all, it was a frustration challenge because you can say what you want about New Mexico. People said it when they weren't a rival on their on-field play because Rising has dominated them most of the time, and the head-to-head record, whatever. Say what you want. Listen, man, I don't care that Rising performance was that bad and that New Mexico didn't have those chances. They outplayed us. It wasn't a massive margin. It wasn't like New Mexico was this glittering offensive display, but Rising did not show up, and they did get outplayed. And it sucks, and especially against that team, especially in the way where it really helped them look good for playoffs. It eliminated Rising's opportunity to host a home playoff match in the first round, but it sucks, man.
Yeah, from the chat, though, just here, Thomas, with the fact we had to battle back showed us our form, back to letting the opposition dictate the flow of the match in the first half. I will say this. If we want to actually look at the last 6 games, right, Rising have gone in at the break 0-0 in 5 of the 6.
Ooh.
Okay? And the only one that they didn't go in 0-0 at was against Detroit when they were 1-0 up, thanks to a stoppage time goal.
Danny Trejo, yes. And then
Danny Trejo in stoppage time.
And then
the goals came in the second half. This team is not quick off the mark.
And then, but
then
neither
all
the opponents. They haven't really been.
Right, I'm just going through these now, right? Nice. So the ones that are relevant for that one: New Mexico, Orange County, El Paso, Indy.
That's brutal. That's so true, man.
Well done, Thomas. Yeah, told your girlfriend they haven't beaten.
That's like when I bet on Rising.
Tough. Yeah, talk about that. But right, New Mexico, Orange County, El Paso, Indy, Tulsa. RGV, they did score in the first half. Sacramento, it was 0-0 at the break. You look at some of the other ones here. There was a stoppage time goal in Vegas. Otherwise, that would have been 0-0 at the break. RGV, yeah, they gave up the goal in the first half there. El Paso, that was fine. San Antonio, it was fine. There were goals in the first half, as it was in Monterey. Again, when you start going further back, you actually find there were goals in the first halves, often against Rising. Mm-hmm. But more recently, so many games, they're just going in at the break level at 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where, like, there are some advantages to being a second half team, right? Wearing your opposition down, it allows you to grow into the game, and some teams just start slow. And while you want to see a team come blazing out hot, control the entire match, listen, the reality is like, that is very hard to do on a consistent level, especially in the USL where the margins are so thin. Like, let's just be very realistic about that. Yet, when you are consistently not just starting slow, but allowing like the opposition to really just grow into the game because you are not just not threatening. Like, that's the thing. It's not like Rising is not being, it's not like they're being ambitious and they're trying to make things happen. It's just not coming off, or they're giving the ball away because of some more adventurous passes. Like, I think when you try to play safe and grow into the game that way, it has worked. But here's the thing. When it doesn't work, you then start resulting to a bit riskier passes. You then have to start trying for it a bit more. And that's kind of where it devolves into where we saw with the Greg Hurst drawing the penalty of you have to throw guys forward and you create a bigger hole for yourself. And again, this isn't isolated to last game. This isn't isolated to things during the unbeaten streak. It's Rising has showed that while they have, for all they can do, where they have dynamic passes, where they have balls over the top, where they're able to be a bit more direct, they kind of lull not their opposition always to sleep with their passing possession, but themselves.
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. It's not ideal.
Well said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Short and sweet. Why belabor the point? You've made it.
Oh, you're saying I did pretty good. Well, thank you. Oh, thank you.
That's a rare compliment for Max Simpson. He doesn't get very many of them.
I will take. I'm at Edward's was. Okay. Yeah. No, I will not be verbalizing that. No, none of that.
The kids comment. Why aren't you going to verbalize it?
I'm not gonna. We're not talking about that. No, but right. It was tough.
PHNX Rising is for the children.
Okay. Apparently, when some of them owe root beers. No, but
yeah, you do owe root beers to kids.
I mean, that's just I don't know.
Or one specifically.
Anyway, it was tough. You watch the game, you flush it, and you move on. Where you move on to?
Well, I will say this: we did see actually a huddle at the end of that game
You did,
as well.
yes. Thank you. Please.
We should actually go on to that, but let's have a listen now. I asked Juan after that last game what it was that he said to the team, what the message was in that huddle. Let's have a listen.
That this is a good part of the year. This is what makes us. This is when we stay strong. This is when we believe in it even more than what we're doing. This is when we protect each other and they protect each other. This is when we push. It's not when you win 5-0. It's not when you win 6-0 at home and everybody's clapping. That's easy. But this makes it. This is what really, really keeps you strong if you can bounce back from this, playing at home in front of your people. Let's light that fired up. Let's make sure that the players understand the responsibility that we have. We're playing the US and there's a playoff system that thankfully everything starts from zero. It doesn't matter what you've done for 9 months. Now everything starts from zero in 2 weeks. So we got to be ready to fight. We got to be ready to battle. And I can guarantee you that this organization, this city, this team, and all of our supporters have 23 guys that are completely committed to what we're doing and for these colors. And we're going to be ready.
Yeah. So that was the message after the game. Look, again, right, you want to be going in good form. I do understand, of course, though, that, again, it kind of resets, right? You get into the playoffs. Doesn't matter what you've done previously. Now, of course, it helps for you to have done better.
Yeah.
So you can get those home games, and we know that teams who are playing at home tend to win games. Rising tends to do better at home than it does away from home. You look at the form from this year, and that is the case, right? It does hold true. But overall, though, look, as long as you're fine for 4 weeks, realistically, that's all you need in this league.
True. I mean, man, it's a cliche, but it really is taking it one at a time, and it'll be, we'll get into it on Thursday a bit more, but it just makes it all very interesting how you approach the last match against Colorado Springs, Switchbacks, and how you go from there.
Yeah.
We'll see, man. But hey, I know one going in the huddle, trying to light a fire under the team.
What are you about to transition
trying to
this
gas
to,
them
Max?
up.
What are you trying to...
You want to gas up yourself or your vehicle. You know where to go, baby. You check out Circle K. Circle K.
Max, I might just walk out at this point. I'm not going to lie. That was cringy.
You won't. Do it. Do it right now.
Now he's daring me to do it.
You won't. I can delay this ad as long as I can.
Reese, do you fancy sitting here for a bit? Nah, you're all right.
Exactly. Circle K. Right. Even if Owen walks out, he'll be walking to Circle K. Quenches thirst, everything like that. Guzzle the Polar Pop.
That result the discount cards from Rising a few weeks back.
There you go. Part of Physic Rising. It's a
money off.
It is. Yeah, it is.
They of course came out and filled up cars, didn't they, a few weeks prior?
They did. Yeah. They launched their Inner Circle program officially. And yeah, they were literally filling up people's cars like about a month back. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We like that. Again, check out the Inner Circle program for yourself. Download the Circle K app for free. Fantastic. First 5 fill-ups, 25 cents off a gallon. Gas is expensive, people. Save that money. You're welcome. I got a free Polar Pop today, part of Inner Circle program. Freaking great. And also got some snacks. I put some peanut butter pretzels on Sean DePauw's desk. I think you might be allergic, but they're closed. The bag is closed. Wait, that makes me sound like a bad person.
You are a bad person.
No, I don't know if
Max has just admitted to trying to poison someone.
I didn't say that. It's a closed bag. It's a closed bag of Circle K pretzel. Oh gosh. Well, it's gonna get me in hot water. Check out Circle K. Don't eat the pretzels if you're allergic to peanut butter. I am not, so I will be eating them. Not Sean DePauw's, but yeah, love you, Sean. Love Circle K as well. Yeah. We're asking a sponsored question.
Don't ask Adman about ads.
I do love ads.
He love talking about it, but he won't have any insight.
Yeah, Thomas. That's a fair question. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, all I'll say is this: I have no knowledge of what the front of kit sponsor is, but I will just say this: brands. If you kind of look at global football, right, you see a lot of brands that maybe aren't doing so well. Either way, maybe they are doing well, maybe they're not, and they're still spending money. So there you go. Guess we'll have to see. I like Eddie's PHNX__rising front of shirt sponsor. I bet that might cost a pretty penny, but hey, here we go. And no, we're not putting my face on the shirt. I don't think my ego can handle that.
Can we get it on the inside of the Las Vegas Lights shit? They've done that before. They've done that before.
Don't you dare.
They love to put faces
I
on
will
the
not
inside
stoop
of
to
the
that
shit.
level. I will not stoop to that
How much
level.
money would we have to pay? Seriously now, how much money do you think we'd have to pay Brett Lashbrook to advertise this podcast?
Brett Lashbrook to advertise this podcast.
Yeah. I feel like $10 would probably do it, to be fair. Like, he just takes people's money for anything.
Circle K would be rad for Phoenix Rising, not Vegas.
It would.
Yes. I would say for Brett Lashbrook, he seems like a man. I'm not saying a connoisseur or anything like that, but
Connoisseur.
I said not a connoisseur. Might I recommend maybe a 15 variety pack of some Four Peaks? That might do the job.
That might do the job.
That might do the job.
That
A 15
might do
pack
the
of Four Peaks, right? It'll have your hazies, your wows, your kilts, your hop knots, everything like that, just like you see on the screen. It is absolutely delicioso. Yeah, Four Peaks. It's that time of year, baby. It's that pumpkin porter. It's that rattle on red ale. Go D-backs. Rumor has it going to the game. Someone tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. Good freaking time, man. D-backs in the playoffs. They're supporting all the teams, supporting the Cardinals. Other football, not this football, not the best kind of football, but hey, we make it work. Shout out Four Peaks. Check them out at Four Peaks Pub and at Four Peaks Brew on Instagram to check out what the latest and greatest that they got going on. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly.
Yeah, you could go to the US-Mexico game tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you're not.
I didn't
He's not. I'll be there.
I didn't say I wasn't.
You'll see me there.
I didn't say I wasn't going.
You have. You already said that.
I did not say that.
You said that to me.
What are you talking about? Off the record, buddy. What are you talking about?
Well, you just said that you're going to the D-backs game tomorrow, man.
I said I wasn't. I didn't say I was going. I said that someone on this podcast was going. It could be any one of us. So, yeah, you see Danielle raising her hand. She's producer Danielle. She's not going to the Rising game. She's going to the D-backs game.
Well, yeah, no one's going to the Rising game tomorrow because there is no Rising game
but I mean,
tomorrow,
like
Max.
the game at Rising Stadium.
We can keep whispering like this, Max. I'm not sure where we're getting with this.
Okay, but I'm just saying that you're accusing me. Anyway, okay, we can do this. We can do this all day.
We can do this
all day.
Pulls up the text.
Yeah, right. So it's important to look at the last game, right, in context. And we said we would, yes, PH next ASMR. We said that we would allude to it, right, because this is indicative of a greater trend.
It is.
And I think it's easy to talk about the unbeaten streak. There's ways to look at it positive. There's ways to look at it negative. And it's going to be the conversation of how does this fit into Rising's form of perception moving into playoffs?
Yeah, I'm going to start calling this the good, the bad, and the ugly now. Okay? So should we have a look at those results?
Let's do it.
Talk about them. So let's have a look at the first ones here. These are the good, right, overall. Okay?
These are the first five.
First five. Pretty decent,
Pretty
right?
solid.
You got 4 wins and you got a draw, right? Yeah, the Tulsa draw could have been better, right? But overall, what are you seeing here? You're seeing a team that is putting away most of its shots on target, to be fair.
Yeah. Here. Gosh darn it.
Shout out to Sam in the chat, by the way. Max, you're terrible at whispering.
Yeah. Oh, dear gosh. I did talk some crap to her, and well, wouldn't you know, she's hopping on the pod. But anyway, looking at those 5 matches, right? What are some of the constants here, right? You're looking at, right, it's good score lines, sans the Tulsa match. And really the Tulsa match, we thought that was kind of just let's call it what it is. It was a bad match, but I didn't want to say it was a throwaway. And again, I'm not going to get into the argument of, how was the playing conditions, everything like that. But like, it kind of mucked up the game for both teams. We'll call it what it is. Even during that game, you're looking at this double-digit shots during every single match except for the Sacramento one, which to Rising's credit, it was gritty, it was well fought.
And you'd expect it to be, right? Sacramento have now secured the top seed in the West. They're a good team.
They play that.
You don't have to play that pretty. You have to play it effective, and that's what they did. They got their 2 goals.
Yes.
And were willing to.
The thing that I like here, and here's the thing, most people, if you told them out of these 5 matches, the best percentage of shots on target to shots, the best one would be 50%. I mean, you'd be telling me, well, hang on, that's not a great shot accuracy. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter because Phoenix Rising, if they threaten the goal, if they have a lot of shots on there, that's what's going to help. This team, when they've only had like you saw against New Mexico, a couple shots, Doesn't matter if they have a high shot accuracy percentage because they're not going to threaten the goal enough. This team is most dangerous when it's threatening the goal, when if you're looking at possession, it doesn't have an overwhelming amount of possession, when they're playing quick, when they're playing decisive, when they're threatening the keeper, and those shots add up to a relatively high XG. Doesn't matter about the low shot percentage, but it's about being aggressive, attacking football. That is something where you can say all you want about your high possession. You can say all you want about everything else, but this team plays best when it doesn't overthink things, seemingly.
Yeah, no, I tend to find that's the case. Look, in those games, I think what we saw overall was just a willingness to go on the attack, to I mean, again, you look at Detroit, they just mullered Detroit utterly, didn't they? Let's be perfectly honest. Right. And I know that's the extreme example in that stretch, but like overall, I think the bigger thing there is that the opposition didn't really seem to threaten very much as well. Okay.
What's the record with the on-field MC? Is
he the 2023 version of our jinxed white jersey?
Gosh.
I don't know. We'll see.
That actually, Lackey, that might be something. If we're able to, that'd be fun to think of in the coming weeks. For Thursday. If we're able to pull it then, Lackey.
We'll see.
But hey, those were the first 5 matches. Again, that was when you look at the results. 4 out of 5 of those were wins. Again, the draw away to Tulsa, not bad. We came out of that feeling. You had a bit of everything, by the way. You had the gritty you had the coming from behind win against Vegas, where they played terrible in the first half, but they ended up showing it, and that started the whole thing. You had the win against Sacramento, a top team. You had the blowout against Detroit City. Yeah. You had a lot in there, and things were feeling great. And then comes the back half of that
the bad.
The bad. Yeah, the bad.
Feeding into the ugly in that final game.
Oh, dear gosh. So again, this was the last 3 games in the 8-match unbeaten streak, plus the loss, the nail in the coffin to that unbeaten streak with that New Mexico match. You look at these 3 teams, right? Indy 11, El Paso Locomotive, Orange County. What are we seeing here? We're seeing, right? Okay, you get some shots, which is not bad, but this one, it's a bit higher of possession, especially the 62% against El Paso. It's not always decisive.
Well, broadly speaking, worth noting that in this 4-game stretch, they haven't ever lost a possession battle, whereas in the previous games, they did actually lose a few of those possession battles, but won those games.
They were losing most in that previous one. But no, right? I mean, you're seeing here, it's something where shots a little bit higher towards the first 2, okay. But again, I think the big indicator, like we keep on mentioning, it's possession battle. And it's where, I don't know, it just doesn't matter. Like, again, you're seeing these 60 to 40 may not seem like a ton of lopsided, but like that's relatively lopsided for a possession battle. Yes?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And, kind of manifests into, as you get into those later games against OC, where even though that was technically still part of the unbeaten streak, we were kind of looking at that being like, man, like this was a really bad game. And of course, it then feeds into New Mexico, where both those games, single-digit shots, doesn't matter about the relatively high goal accuracy percentage for shots. It was high possession. It doesn't matter. This team just did not get it done in the back half of the stretch.
Let's be honest. How do you take a 60% possession game and only get 5 shots in total on or off target? Yeah. That's the problem. That's where you're getting into the problem there.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, listen, these
Reese with the stats here. Rising have a record of 2 wins, 3 draws, and 6 losses when they have 60% possession or higher. 2 wins are against Loudoun and Hartford.
Woof.
2 of the worst teams in the league.
That is a
really, really abysmal teams in the Eastern Conference.
Wow. Okay. So
and those games are at home.
So I'm no mathematician, but if you're looking at that's 11 matches in those games where they have 60% possession or higher. They're taking, what is that, 9 points from 11 matches. That's not good.
No, it's
That's
not.
Poor. That's poor. I mean, again, this team, there's a time to possess, and I get there's a way to grow into the match with possession. That's fine. And, there's not like a set limit you put in it where it's like, first 10 minutes is build up possession, and then you start going. But there has to come a point where it's like, if you're getting into like the 30th, 35th minutes, like nothing's happening, it's like, man, what are we doing? You know? It's tough. You got to be a bit more decisive. It shows that that's where Rising's been most effective. But yeah, it kind of asks the question, what is this winning streak? How will we remember it? First off, and chat, please would love the chat participation as well. How will we remember this winning streak? Is it a more favorable impression or a negative? And then also, what does that impact mean for Phoenix Rising's aura going into the postseason?
Look, a large part of it, I think we were saying before this New Mexico loss, it didn't necessarily bother you because ultimately going to the playoffs, you want to be hard to beat. You don't necessarily want to be flying away. But hey, they ultimately, it's still a good thing, right? It is a good thing that you're not losing many games. That New Mexico game really, I think, changes the complexion of it slightly. But at the same time, you saw those games leading up to it, right? It felt like it was probably going to happen at some point.
Yep.
Okay, it could have happened against El Paso, to be honest. It took Rising a stoppage time, or very, very late equalizer. It was an unbeaten streak, of course, pointing out there. But yeah, it took a very late equalizer.
You guys knew what I meant.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's still one of those ones you look at, right? And they could have given it away when they were in El Paso. They could have given it away in some of those other games they drew, right? It took a late equalizer against Orange County as well. And that was a shot that you wouldn't necessarily expect to go in, even though Emil Quasia almost did another one against New Mexico.
My word, that was, oh gosh, that would have been bonkers. No, man, it's, I don't think this completely changed the perception of this team. Like, let's call it what it is. New Mexico's match was not a one-off flash in the pan. Like just because they ended 8-match unbeaten streak with a loss like that, it wasn't, this was out of the nowhere. This was just a bad performance. Like, no, there were results and performances that led to that New Mexico match. It was not an outlier. It was very much that was indicative of their perform in regards to performance.
Yep.
But to your point, this team during that streak found multiple ways, yes, to win sometimes, but really not to lose. And again, when you come time to playoffs, I'm not saying you want to muck it up and just say you go for pens, but like if that's what you have to do sometimes, it's all about surviving. It is all about surviving. If you are able to lift that championship, it don't matter how you get there as long as you get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay?
true.
That's the end of the day on that one. We hope it improves. We hope that the end of the unbeaten streak and the last couple matches are not indicative of Rising's form. But again, that kind of leads into Thursday of what does that Colorado Springs game look like? It may, even though there's not quote unquote theoretically home field to play, home playoff match to play for, it does make how you approach that game a little bit more interesting.
It is interesting, and I think it's because you want momentum, but at the same time, I mean, we'll get onto this on Thursday, of course. I'm not sure that a win is necessarily the best result for Rising's title.
This is very fair. Yeah, we will see. But hey, man, don't ride the highs too much. Don't ride the lows. But hey, if you are gonna ride the highs,
I know where he's going with this.
check out our friends at OG's Brands.
Why is it the cringy transitions?
Oh man,
always?
Danielle was already on it. She was already smiling, like she was reaching for that lower third as soon as I was on it.
Could see that coming a mile away.
Yeah,
But that's just Max.
I tee it up for them. I tee it up. Oh man, Sly asking in the chat, Owen, you go to the fair yet? If so, are you a turkey leg guy or fried Twinkie guy? Well,
neither.
Either way. Well, see, he says that now, but if you have a little OGs, man, both of those are gonna hit like the jackpot. It's going to be absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. Check out our friends at OG's Brands, the sativas, the indicas, the fruits, the creams, the mixed bags, the minis, everything like that. Wonderful. You can find them at ogsbrands.com. Find them at a local dispensary near you. Must be 20 years or older to enjoy responsibly. And yes, on that lower third there, keep in mind, we will soon enough. Another promo code coming your way. So be on the lookout. Good stuff coming up. Yep, we are all good there. And hey, also got to shout out our friends at Valley Tap Room. Tap Room, enjoyed many trivia nights, enjoyed many beers. Of course, Four Peaks, you guys already know. But yeah, we're going to be planning some fun, end of season stuff. Hopefully it's not for a little bit. Rising continues their winning ways, or at least non-losing ways. And yeah, we go from there. But again, shout out Valley Tap Room. Check them out on Instagram at Valley Tap Room. Shout out my man Donald. Here you go there. Own to buy you beer. It's fantastic.
Max is buying beers.
Tough.
Max is buying beers.
It's okay. Danielle doesn't know enough to do the jingle, so that's fair. Well, I'm sure she knows, but she won't because we're cool. But no, pipe down over there, Statlacky.
Statlacky, sing it. In fact, Statlacky, do you want to come sing it?
No, you may not.
Live rendition.
We are not going to.
A live rendition.
We are not going to have Statlacky.
Of the jingle.
We are not going to have Statlacky with the jingle.
Come on over. Come on over, Statlacky.
Go.
Here we go. Let's go.
When you're ready to say cheers, don't forget Max is buying beers.
There we go.
We're going to have to completely edit this part out.
Live rendition of the jingle.
Yeah. Here. Harry. I'll be seeing you soon, Harry. We'll see how things fold out. But yeah, shout out Valley Tap Room. Definitely do not shout out Reese. Sly, what am I? Am I a turkey leg or a Twinkie? I'm a both kind of guy. But if I have to choose, I love a big turkey leg. I'll call it what it is. I like going Renaissance, a little medieval with a big old turkey leg. Feel good about it. Fried Oreos are the only pick. Also very good. Really, anything fried is probably darn good. But yeah, man. Shall we? Anything noteworthy in the USFL?
No, because there's not a lot going on now, right? It's that time of season whereby everyone is pretty much gearing up for the weekend. There was one game on Sunday, Birmingham Legion. They took on Monterey Bay. Birmingham Legion winning that game, which means that Monterey Bay are now outside the playoff picture. They would, of course, have been in ahead of New Mexico had they won that game away in Alabama. They didn't do so, which means that it is in New Mexico's hands. With a win against Memphis next weekend, they could clinch a playoff place.
Okay. By the way, all of you guys, like this video. Do us a favor. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Do it now. But yeah. Yeah, man. It's
like it for every one like equals one. Max is buying beers.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Okay, it literally just shot up. Okay, well that's cool. Well, that's all we'll get. Okay, darn. Anyway, yeah. We'll see, man. Thursday, it's gonna be a good show. We're gonna be doing a little bit of of course, the preview against Colorado Springs, but also gonna be taking a deeper dive into 3 of Rising's possible opponents for that opening matchup. So
playoff picture.
Chick. It's the was it the Son? Is the Son Heung-min?
You're not a photographer, are you, Max?
I mean, I have a nice camera. I don't know how to use it. Yeah, Danielle's looking at me. I'm like, no, I'm not a photographer. I don't know. Good. I don't know what I'm doing. She was like, she's getting ready to say something. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm not a photographer, but
Max is the kind of guy who buys an expensive camera and shoots on like auto.
Yes, I feel seen.
You do, don't you?
Oh gosh, that's exactly what I do.
Max, you don't actually shoot on auto, do you?
No, of course not. We appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining the PHNX Rising podcast. You guys can follow us on Twitter at PHNX__Rising because double the underscore.
Double the help in Max understanding what ISO is.
Someone teach me. You can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. You can follow Owen on Twitter, OJ Evans18. You can not getting acknowledged Statlack. It's a horrible form. It's just kidding.
It's not like Reese is Reese 11 underscore.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. The guy said he had 2 underscores. The man is absolutely crazy. I don't know where it disappeared to. Just trying to go into the Netherverse, into the Twitterverse, whatever. Hey, go follow me. I'm Reese 11. I'm 2 underscores. Doesn't matter. The man only has 1 underscore, but here we go. Anyway, and you can follow...
Kind of like what Max would when he tries shooting his camera with the lens cap still on.
Hey, Max, it's too bad there's not like an actual photographer in the studio right now.
Do you think when I said shouting out to the universe, someone teach me? I was actually looking at you. I don't think you can see me because of... Hold on. There you go. Yeah.
Someone who teaches
What is he doing?
Someone who teaches it at ASU. It's too bad we don't have anybody on there.
Too bad we don't have her.
You got to charge him those ASU level tuition fees.
For the record, I was fully looking at you, but I couldn't. I was trying to save the embarrassment. But yes, I've just, here we are. Yeah, no, we're not getting into this. We're not getting into this. Anyway, you can follow.
We haven't had comments on Max showing feet for a while.
Stop it! Shut up! No, you can follow producer Danielle at Africa Danielle. I really hope I'm right on that one. Yes. Fantastic. We're ending the show before it gets worse. It's a beautiful game. It's very beautiful when I don't make a fool of myself, but it happens all the time. Cool. Goodbye. Later.